Hello everyone, welcome to Gradeup. Welcome to your IIFT revision classes. We will be having today we'll be having a series of 2 classes on your IIFT revision. IIFT is very close, so we'll have a quick recap of some of the things that you should do. Today I have focused on reading comprehension and vocabulary. Tomorrow we will be doing grammar, parajumbles, and a little bit of vocabulary as well, reading comprehension too. So these are the things we have lined up for you. The best thing to ace an exam, the best strategy to ace an exam is to work on past year question papers, which is what we at Gradeup are doing. My colleague Krishnadu has done some questions on past year papers, and continuing with that, I'm going to do some more, right? So before we start the class, Gradeup has its National Scholarship Test for CAT coming up on 23rd January. Anyone who is aspiring to write CAT 2021 should take this test. Just register for it because you get to benchmark yourself against others who want to take CAT 2021, and for that effort you may just walk away with a huge scholarship. So both ways you're in a win-win situation, right? I'm Savitri Krishnamurthy. I am your reading comprehension and reasoning teacher at Gradeup. I, along with my colleagues, will take you through all the aptitude test, the vARC sections of all aptitude tests, with particular focus obviously on CAT, XCT, IIFT, SNAP, and of course all other exams, NMAT and other exams that come up. Now, how many of you are here? Please give me a quick heads up so we start the session. We'll start with one RC passage. Now, as you know, in IIFT you have 35 questions on the vARC section. In that 35 question, the division is 19 for vocabulary and 16 for RC. Now, here the RC that is asked in IIFT is generally very easy. Only thing is the passages are long. So everything comes down to the direct. Most of the questions are direct, something that you can do really quickly. All right, hello Sunil. You can answer the questions really fast because they're mostly direct questions. A couple of questions which are not direct, you don't have to answer those questions, or it is not as tough as an RC question. Hello Shivam. All right, but the strategy for IIFT generally is, since there are so many verbal ability questions, many questions on vocabulary, grammar, mostly vocabulary, synonyms, antonyms, analogies, they have started this new type of crossword, but it's pretty easy, mostly adjective based, idioms and phrases. So if your vocabulary is good and you prepare a little bit on that, you can answer those questions fast. Even if you don't know, it doesn't take you much time. You look at it, what you know, you quickly answer. So the VA section should boost up your score. And then obviously you look at the RC. If there are 4 passages, you can easily do 3. If you can maximize your scores by doing as many RC passages as possible. I have chosen 2 RC passages, but I've kept one right at the beginning of the session and one right at the end. Only if we have time, we will do the last one, because the last one is very easy. Idioms and phrases, Shivam, they sometimes ask parts of speech like snap. So tomorrow I'm planning to do a very quick run through all the main grammar areas from which questions are asked, but I'll base it obviously on past year question papers. All right, so I'll give you about 45. This is a tougher passage. This has a few indirect questions. Okay, that is why I chose it instead of the very easy ones. I'll give you about 45 seconds, which for many of you might be too much, to read each slide, and then we'll answer questions. Okay, start. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Oh, done. All right. So what is the author talking about? What is the subject? You know, some of the main points hopefully you have remembered. Now let's look at the first question. What does the author believe? Democracy is neither a cause nor a consequence of growth. Democracy is only the cause, not the consequence of growth. Democracy can be both the cause and consequence of economic progress, or democracy is only the consequence and never be the cause of growth. What do you remember reading? Now, in an actual exam, you can see the passage. Do you want me to show it to you, or do you remember what the author said about cause, consequence, democracy, and progress? Manisha has come up with an answer. Good, Manisha. All right. Reshu, Shivam, Sunil, Prabhati also has an answer. Do you want me to show you the passage, or are you okay? Give me the answers. Do you want to key in your answers? Do you want me to show you the passage before I move on to the next question? The author here says, democracy may not always be the cause of initial economic progress, but it seems to be one consequence. May not always be the cause means it can be both a cause and a consequence. Good, Shivam. So answer is C. Once you read it quickly and thoroughly, if you have a doubt on the play of words, you can quickly check back. Okay, cross check with the passage, but shouldn't take you much time. All right, answer is C. Next, East Asian economic growth model exhibits the following sequence. He talked about Korea. So East Asian economic growth model exhibits which following secret? A democratic regime in the beginning, followed by a totalitarian regime, undemocratic regime in the beginning, a government, a system of government, or the rule, the period during which a particular person rules is called his regime. Undemocratic regime in the beginning, succeeded by a relatively more democratic regime. Undemocratic regimes in the beginning as well as subsequent stages. Malevolent dictatorships opposite to benevolent, followed by benevolent dictatorships. Do you remember what he said? Or do you want me to show you the passage? What did he say? When did he give the example of Korea and such countries, and what did he say? Okay, Manisha's come up with an answer. Good. Anyone else? I'll take you back to the passage here. He said here, here, China, South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, Hong Kong had one thing in common at the start of the growth: undemocratic government at the same times. And then he said that at the start of the government they had undemocratic governments, but later they became more democratic. So what is the model exhibited? First undemocratic, then relatively more democratic. Good, Sahil. So look at the answer option 1, which says that they adopted democracy later on. They started as undemocratic. That is option B. All right, good. Let's look at the third question. According to the author, totalitarian regime means dictatorships, Manisha. Totalitarian, total control. Dictatorships, autocratic governments are called totalitarian regimes. They started as totalitarian regimes, but they slowly gave way to more democracy. That's what he said. What is the necessary condition for economic growth according to the author? Democracy and market economy. If you paid attention, remember when you read the passage, pay more attention to the first few lines and the last few lines. Always. There are some passages where the first few lines is a hook which does not have the main point, but in many cases you will get the main point. So democracy and market economy, totalitarian regime and protection of property rights. Which one does he say is a necessary condition of economic growth? Shivam, no question mark. You're correct. Okay. So he talks about, what is he talking about? The main thing, the necessary condition for economic growth is market economy and protection of fundamental right of property rights. Where does he say that? Right at the beginning. What kind of political system best achieves a market economy with strong protection of property rights? So the whole discussion is about that, right? So easy, direct questions, right? So answer is D. All right, very good. What is the premise? This is the only tricky question, but again easy, because most students get put off by the very word on what. What is the premise? What is the basis on which the whole argument is being developed by the author? That is the premise. What is, so his whole argument, he talks of this, he talks of that, he talks of Korea, he talks of India, he talks of Amartya Sen, but what is the basis on which the whole argument is built upon? Neither democracy nor a totalitarian regime in itself ensures economic growth. Would the author agree with, will it go with his main point? Or would he say democratic regime alone is conducive to economic growth? Then he wouldn't have given examples of Korea, China, all those. Only a totalitarian regime is conducive to economic growth. He says the opposite of that. He says a dictatorship generally doesn't guarantee, even if it does at the beginning, the dictatorship may not continue to do so. Therefore, you are left with A and D. Answer is yes. He says it's not necessarily a particular political system, but democracy is a better one in that still neither one by itself can ensure. All right. Okay. So most IIFT passages, in fact, the passage that I have selected next is even easier. So most of the passages look like this is one of the more difficult passages actually. All right. So if you are liking the session, of course, do press a like and share. Now we come to what kind, why am I giving so many vocabulary questions, is you have to pay attention to adjectives, common adjectives that are used. If you see these, many of these, of course there are nouns, a mixture of all, but most of them, if you see, are adjectives, descriptive words, descriptive of people, their behavior, of any kind of thing. So generally, if you see out of these, We will look at all of them. The question at the end will drive you nuts. The students were pretty boisterous. Boisterous means noisy, difficult to control. Evanescent, fleeting. Success is evanescent. Something that lasts for a very short time is evanescent. Okay? Obdurate, a very what do you say, one of the favorites. Generally, yes, only words, unless the author used them in the passage. You do not, whenever you see an option which has an extreme word, be careful. If that has been mentioned in the passage, then it is okay, but 99% of the time it is a wrong option. True. Obdurate means stubborn. Like in this case, the obdurate farmers refused to budge from their position. Extremely stubborn, not yielding. That is obdurate. Okay. This is a tone word which is asked so often in CAT, IIFT, anything. Sardonic means disdainful or mocking. Got it? Now the reason I'm telling you all these words is that there are a lot of these words which would be asked in some other context as part of the options. Good to know all the words given in the options, and then we'll solve the so-called crossword of theirs. Tendentious. Most editorials nowadays are tendentious. That means, most argumentative writing is tendentious, where the author has a stand on an issue and he argues in a way that you agree with that side. He tries to persuade you to see that side. So that is called tendentious writing. Partial, favoring one side or the other, is tendentious. Vicissitudes, the changes in fortune, are called vicissitudes. All right. Lachrymose, the gland that produces your tears. So when somebody calls you a lachrymose person, it means you are given to crying. But even in science and biology, the lachrymose gland is the one which produces tears. Scruple means an ideal. Scruple, so principle. So scrupulous is a person who is extremely principled. Icon is an image. So iconoclast is an image breaker, a person who is unorthodox, who breaks traditions, who breaks rules, is called, not rules so much as breaks from the, what is normal and what is accepted, is called an iconoclast. Peccadillo. Now peck, the word, has two roots. One means money, as in pecunious, and one. Peccadillo is from the Greek root, where peck means a fault. So peccadillo is a very small fault. Impeccable, faultless, right? So peccadillo means a very small mistake, very small mistake or fault. Okay. Loquacious. We've done this before. Loquacious means somebody who talks a lot. Lock, the root is talk. So loquacious means talkative. All right. Avaricious comes from the word avarice. Avarice means greed. So avaricious means greedy. All right. Quixotic comes from Don Quixote. What was Don Quixote? He was an impractical fellow, but he was an idealist. So somebody who is an idealist, ye karenge, wo karenge, but something, he comes up with ideas which cannot be implemented, then that person is called quixotic. Somebody who is idealistic but impractical. Proselytize means to try to convert somebody. So when people try to convert you into their religion, those people who persuade you, they are called proselytizers. All right. Capricious comes from the word caprice. Caprice means whim. So a capricious person is very whimsical. She keeps changing her mind every second time. So capricious also means unpredictable. You don't know what they're going to do or say anytime. A troglodyte is a cave dweller. So when somebody is savage, barbaric, uncivilized, you say it is the troglodytic tendencies. Okay, somebody who dwells in a cave is called a troglodyte. And if you say troglodytic, that means the person is gone back to living in the cave. So he's very unsophisticated, very crude, very uncouth, right? Unctuous means oily. So when a person is unctuous, what is he doing? He's trying to do anything. He would try to do anything to please you, butter you up. So he's unctuous, greasy fellow. Okay. Obsequious is the same thing, servile. So this was given by mistake. Actually, the word should have been pernicati here instead of obsequious. Okay. Unctuous and obsequious. Obsequious means like a servant, servile, ready to do anything to please you. That is another favorite of theirs. Capricious is another favorite. Avaricious is another favorite. This little table has a lot of very frequently asked questions. Now, this is a very sad word because it means sad, okay, gloomy. Somebody who's like that is called lugubrious. Lugubrious guy means he always looks like he's going to cry. All right. Vociferous, vocal, somebody who's outspoken, who doesn't keep quiet. So he's a very vociferous advocate for something. Pernicati means somebody who's very fastidious, very finicky. Right? Finicky, KY. If you're very pernickety, it means you're very finicky. How many of you are very pernickety about your clothes? Iron hona chahiye, not a little crease anywhere. Some of you are very pernickety about your food. Somebody is very pernickety about how the room is kept. So that is pernickety, means very finicky. Alright, very meticulous, excessively meticulous. Meticulous also means that, giving too much care to every little thing. From there, tell me now the word producing tears. What's the word we learnt? Quickly type it in. Producing tears. What's the word we learnt? Quickly type it in. 1A across. It should be here somewhere. So what is the word I should be typing in quickly? I told you the words. Yes, lachrymose. So producing tears would be lachrymose. All right. Next one. Mocking, disdainful. What's the word I want? B across. Mocking, lachrymose. Lacrosse is a kind of game. Lachrymose. Okay, lachrymose. I'll show you the words again. Here. Word is sitting here. LACHRIMOSE. So the number you want is 7. All right. Next one. Mocking. What's the word we wanted? It's a tone word in RC. What's the word we want? Mocking, disdainful. Good, Shivam. Sardonic. Okay. Sardonic. This is lachrymose. And next one would be SARDONIC. All right. A down. Unpredictable. Unpredictable. Like some of our ministers. Yes, mystery talks. Capricious. Okay, unpredictable is capricious. 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 Very good. Reserve. So A down, right? CAPRICIOUS. Okay, B down. Resembling a caveman. Starts with a T. So it would be, or savage, barbaric will be troglodytic. Troglodytic. All right. And all right, now according to that, which one will it be? We saw the numbers. It, I think, is B. Okay, after you see the numbers. I never got these things. They took too much time. Okay, all right. Next one. There is a word there for idealistic and but impractical. What's the word I said? for somebody who's idealistic but impractical. So with one grade, one set of words, they ask 3 questions. So if you knew at least some of those words, you could answer so many, right? Okay, idealistic but impractical, after a character called Don Quixote. So what's the word we want? Quixotic. Extremely thorough. This is not the word given, but I am writing. What is the other word we wanted for extremely thorough? Perfect. Very good. Very good. What's the other word we want for extremely thorough? One is meticulous, one is finicky, one is fastidious. Right? These are called cluster words. The moment you come up with one word, you think of pernickety. Got it? Pronunciation is different, writing it is different. Pernickety, that's the word, okay? But it was not there. Pernickety, finicky, all right, meticulous, fastidious, those are the words you want. So once you knew those, you could pick it up. Sedulous means hardworking. Sedulous, mystery talks, means hardworking, diligent. So the answer accordingly would turn out to be whatever. Change of fortune, quickly your fortunes are, we say the something of fate, badalta rehta hai. So what does that mean? The change of fortune. What is the word we wanted? It was given here. Wait, I'll show it to you. Did I? Not here. No. It was in another. This thing, is it? It was in another one. Unruly, we had change of fortune is vicissitudes. I thought that was there somewhere. Okay. Vicissitudes is change of fortune. Unruly, the very first word, unruly, is boisterous. All right. Evanescent means very, something that lasts for a very short time. Fleeting. The exact meaning, Manisha, is fleeting. Vicissitudes. Perfect. Okay. All right. So that was the answer. Okay. Now what we did was, there are many more. Find out like meanings of words like, what does chivalrous mean? What does altruistic mean? What does gregarious mean? Think of some of the words they use. Ebullient. Somebody who's very exuberant, right? So when you're preparing, prepare on certain very commonly used adjectives. Altruistic, munificent. Munificent means very generous. Magnanimous, large-hearted or generous. So many other words. Exuberant person is called very, lot of words which are there. Ebullient, okay, bubbly as we call it. So think of all the nice adjectives you use to describe men and women, good and bad, and just come up with a list of at least 15. That's taken care of. All right. Vivacious is also somebody who's exuberant. Excellent. What does propitiate the god? What does propitiate mean? Propitiate. You're very angry. To propitiate you, I will do something. Propitiate means to appease, to try to calm you down, to pacify. Do not confuse it with propitious. Propitious means favorable. All right. Exorbitant is something which is very excessively more, like expensive or something. Got it? All right. So those are some of the words. Do you know what sanguine means? Sanguine. That's the other word I had on my list that I wanted to ask you. Sanguine. All of you are sanguine youngsters. Means optimistic, cheerful. Okay. The Prime Minister drew a sanguine picture of the economy. Very optimistic. Okay. Everything is fine. That's a sanguine picture. All right. I'm sanguine about my chances in the exam. Means I'm very positive about my chances. Got it? All right. Lugubrious is sad. Okay. All right. Next one. Savage is too barbaric. Savage is too. So when they give you analogies, the best way to solve analogies is to spell out the relationship of the given word. Okay, in IIFT, most of them are either meanings or opposites, but they could give other things too. All right. So, savage is to barbaric are meanings. It's a very savage attack. It's a barbaric attack. Both mean the same. So, they are synonymous. Which of the options here is synonymous? Venomous is to virulent, poisonous, toxic, dangerous. Right? Now, let's look at the other options. What does lucid mean? You say lucid prose. Lucid, from there comes the word elucidate. Lucid means clear. Clear. And turbid means muddy, unclear. So you can use turbid literally to describe the waters of a river. You say turbid waters of the Ganges during the monsoons, or you can say somebody's prose is very turbid. You can't understand what it is because it's very unclear. So both you can use. All right. What does puerile mean? Puerile. It's not this. It's spelt wrong. It should be like this. Puerile means immature or childish. Okay. Senile is the old age illness. All right. Okay. Next one. Now, I have a problem with this. Pertinacious does not exactly mean astute. If you look up the dictionary for pertinacious, pertinacious and tenacious are related. They have the same root and they have the same meaning. Pertinacious means determined. Somebody who doesn't give up easily, somebody who holds steady, persevering. But here he has given the exam itself. This is last year's 2019 paper. He gave it as astute. Astute means somebody who's very sharp. Okay, not necessarily the exact meaning, but when you look at the options, you will come up with an answer easily. Pertinacious actually means tenacious, determined, persevering. Any of those could have been a better word than astute. Astute is one of the, if you look at a thesaurus for synonyms, it will be the 100th word given there. Ki ye bhi ho sakta hai kind of a thing. But it's not exactly the meaning. Foible is a weakness. All right. What does demure mean? Remember, most of the words you are getting for next year's questions would be from the options. What does demure mean? There are two words that I can teach you here, demur and demure. Two different words. One each makes all the difference. Demure means shy, diffident. That is demure. Demure girl, demure bride. Demur is to object, to say no. If I tell you guys, I'll take your class till 9:30 today, many of you will demur and leave the class. 9:30, bhag jayega. Okay, that is demur. Demure is shy, diffident. Yes. Okay. All right. Indecorous. Decorous, that is another good word. Decorous means proper, decent. Somebody who sticks to the rules, what is to be done. Indecorous means indecent, improper. Got it? Chaffing is somebody who's joking, and serious is serious. Grandiose is the opposite of simple. Got it? So the answer is A. Next one. Dilated pupils, contracted pupils. Dilate means, lat here means to pull apart. That's the root. So dilate is to expand, which is the opposite of contract. So what is the relationship? Dilate is the opposite of contract, just as contaminate is not the opposite of spread. Contaminate means to make something infected. Spread. Scribble is to write, not exactly. They're similar, right? Hawk is to pano. Wax is to wane. How? Waxing moon, waning moon. When the moon goes from New moon, amavasya, say yes. Chaffing means making fun, mocking, anything. Okay. Waxing moon is new moon to full moon. Amavasya se Purnima, when the moon slowly becomes more and more and more, that's called the waxing moon. And the waning moon. So wax is that way. One of the meanings of wax is to increase and wane is to decrease. Waxing moon, waning moon, we say. The moon which increases slowly from new moon to full moon, and the other one is waning moon from full moon to new moon. Got it? All right. So most IIFT analogies are synonyms or antonyms. Sometimes you can get degree, you can get professional and his place of work, professional and his tool of work. So where the key is, just read the first pair and spell out the relationship between the words. Serene is to agitated. Serene means calm, agitated means excited. So serene is to agitated. Serene is almost the opposite of agitated. Just as, what is the answer? Odious is unpleasant, is to pleasant. You say, what an odious fellow. Unpleasant, insufferable fellow. Dethrone and depose mean the same thing. Fatigue and weariness is the same thing. Reverberate and echo are the same thing. So the word you want are opposites. Therefore, answer is C. Antonyms means opposites. Got it? Alright, now here again I have given you another list of words, because if you know two words, the rest become easy. There's a schism in the party between followers of Mr. A and followers of Mr. B. They are clashing. So the party there is a schism in the party. Depose means to take you off from your position of power. So kings are deposed or dethroned. People, CEOs are deposed from your position when you're pulled down from power. That's called to depose. So schism means a split or a division. Got it? Schism. Torsion is twisting or turning. Zephyr, another big favorite. So B is 3. Zephyr is another big favorite of examiners from my time to yours. Zephyr is a soft, gentle wind. Earlier, the gentle wind that blew in the evenings across the Mediterranean, it was called a zephyr. Now, any pleasant evening breeze, any pleasant breeze which is gentle, therefore pleasant, is called a zephyr. Palliative. For many of us, music is a palliative. What's a palliative? Something that soothes you, calms you down. So palliative means something that is acting as a placating placebo, something that is mollifying, something that soothes you. All right. Mother Teresa was an intrepid warrior for the poor. Intrepid means fearless or courageous. So the answer is this. Again, you have a lot of adjectives. Okay, schism in the party, zephyr, palliative. Music. Most of us use music as a palliative. When you feel very upset, you put on some nice instrumental music, it calms you down. So it's a palliative, right? Okay. Words can be palliative, words can be poisonous too. All right. Intrepid is the word here in this. Intrepid means valiant, fearless. That's the word you need to remember. Now, lots of idioms and phrases. There's no end to it. But at least look up some common idioms and phrases that have been asked in IIFT the last few years. What does to flog a dead horse called? What is the meaning of to flog a dead horse? I'll try to, we'll see the time and then I'll try to do some of them. To flog a dead horse is to do something. The horse is already dead and you're trying to beat it to make it run, right? So to do something in vain. The equivalent idiom there is a cry in the wilderness. Nobody will hear you. You are shouting for help in the wild. Nobody is there. So a cry in the wilderness is also a futile effort, something you're doing which will not get you any result. So the answer for 13 is A. The other interesting one, when you call something a pipe dream, what do you think a pipe dream is? A pipe dream. A bad dream, a pleasant dream, an impractical plan, or a foolish idea. 14. Put the question number, mark the question number so that I know. You all are marking D for the previous question or this, I do not know. Right? A pipe dream, okay, for this question. A pipe dream, well, there are close options, but generally when you come up with something which is not possible, right, then you call it a pipe dream. Now the root, I was trying to look today to say, why is it called a pipe dream? So somebody said, maybe under the influence they used to smoke opium in pipes. So when you're in that intoxicated state, you try to make plans which will not work. So many said it's more than foolish, it's impractical, cannot be implemented. Okay, so answer is C. Now this many people made a mistake because these are very close options. Okay, but basically a pipe dream is an impractical plan. Okay, something which cannot be done. There are many more that we can do, like we can look at the options and maybe next class I'll get a lot of idioms and phrases. Now here you have to look at commonly confused words. You have to look at homonyms, homophones, words which sound the same. This is a homophone, words which sound the same but are written differently, spelt differently, like raise and raise has been asked once, right? Then current and currents has been used once. So those kind of words, especially confused words, small changes in the meaning and the pronoun. So which one is the answer for this? Pretty easy, very common mistake that students make, that anybody makes for that matter. Yeah, you can always sense this lose is the opposite of win or get, and this loose is the opposite of tight, right? So the answer for 15 is A. You can always tell when you LOSC a fish, pakda tha, it went, because the line suddenly hangs LOOSC. Got it? Very common mistake people make here with lose and lose, right? Principle, lot of mistakes people make. Okay, now the other way they test your, I'll do some confused words with you next time if there is time. The other kind of vocabulary, and in IIFT it's pretty easy, but you have to be slightly aware of the usage, because you just cannot go with only the words. Ye bhi fit hoga, wo bhi. You normally say what is generally used, which one would make sense and complete the sentence meaningfully. Sunita's performance in athletics yielded rich money. Rich money you don't say. Sunita's excellence in athletics yield rich dividends. Results, oh perfect. Therefore you don't even have to look at anything else, it's B. Most of the fill in the blanks are like this, so they are easy. I haven't done much fill in the blanks, that's why, because I thought y'all can easily do it. Now in the next, I will show you the slide to you only for 30 seconds each. Read it really quickly. Start. The last 5 minutes of the test, I am just putting you under real pressure. Next slide. If you haven't read, bad luck. You just have to guess your way through. Next slide. Next slide. Done. All right. Masayoshi Son represents what? Typical Japanese cultural stereotype, typical Confucian traits, exception to the Japanese cultural stereotypes, or none of the above. Please mark the question number before you mark the answer. I'm showing you the option again, the passage again, the part of the passage. Okay, Pooja says 17. See, an exception. Of course, there are others who are exceptions to this. They set up something. All right, good. Next one. Japanese culture is supportive of what? What do you remember? Guess, Maro. Doesn't matter. Collaboration, entrepreneurial spirit, product innovation, or short-term relationships. What exactly did the passage talk about? Japanese culture is supportive of what? Pooja says A. What do the others say? Sucharu says A too. Ruby says A. Guys, key in your answers quickly. It is supportive of A. Excellent. This is what you're going to do in the exam too, because you have to read quickly and try to maximize your correct answers. Next one. What is the author trying to do in the passage? So if you're looking at the passage, the quick gist, what is he trying to do? Now here, the main point of the passage, if you've got it, fantastic. If not, look for words which are not there in the passage, eliminate those options. Look for extreme words which are not there in the passage, throw them out. Then you come to which one is closest to what you... Please mark the question number, because I'm getting a little confused. Question 19, what's the answer? In the passage, what is the author mainly trying to do? Sluggishness of American firms, has he said? Entrepreneurial zeal, reason, did he say they all have entrepreneurial zeal? Labor relations, no, therefore it has to be culture. So answer is A. All right. What kind of thing does the Japanese business culture emphasize? What is its emphasis on? Even if you had read first line, middle line, last line, you'll get this question correct. Right? Easy? All right. So what did I do today? I just got you acquainted with some of the words you need to be aware of, also of some of the strategies that you can use. Tomorrow, same time, we'll have the second part of the revision where I'll try to again do the same thing, but I'll give you only one passage, probably a tougher passage at the beginning. Then we'll do some para jumbles, which again in IIFT are very easy compared to other tests. IIFT para jumbles are pretty easy. I'll take you through some confused words which have been asked in the past year papers and some grammar questions, just to give you an idea what to look out for. Okay. After that, time remaining, answer one IIFT paper, any year paper, in a timed manner. That means the time given to you, do the entire paper, keeping verbal ability in mind. Okay, that will help you to understand which can I do first, but the advice always is VA first, RC later. RC is Rishabh. Right now, 3 days to go. If you're taking the test now, the past year papers would give you an idea what kind of words to look out for. As I said, it seems to be predominantly adjectives. So just this I've tried to do as many adjectives as I can. Second is words which have some sort of like myths associated with it, like Sisyphean task, Cassandra, Cicero, Dragoman, things like that. So you need to look at that. I will try to give you some of the common foreign words asked from the past 3 or 4 years papers tomorrow. All right, so that's why I kept my dilemma was, what do I work on? So I thought at least get you acquainted with as many words as possible and get you acquainted with the main areas of grammar tomorrow. Okay, parajumbles, just for you to know, I will give you some for practice. All right, so that way that will help you out. All right, so in the meantime, just keep trying, work out 1 year's paper before the test. All right, all the best. Just need to maximize your scores by attempting the right questions in IIFT. All right, okay, see you then. Bye bye. See you.